Testing, mic check 1, 2. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Yeah.
Right, mate. Shanaze.
What's happening?
How are we?
I'm very well, Rich. How are you?
Yeah, good. Nice one for coming down, mate.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
So, obviously, you've done quite a bit in your time, yeah? Multiple World BMX Championships, SAS Celebrity. You know, there's a million and one things that you've done, which I'm sure we're going to find out about. Where did it all start? Obviously, your crew, you're down the road from us. So, yeah.
Started at the BMX track, Rich.
Yeah.
All started there. Well, it actually started because people used to piss me right off.
Yeah.
So, like, I'd go to, like, my mum had me at 16 from a council estate, Derby Docks and crew. And I was always looking out the window as a kid. Like, there was always, like, it's a bit of a drug den. Like, there was always, like, bongs in the background, like, just roadmen. And, like, I would get up in the mornings, like, tripping over people. And I'd just look out the window and be like, right, my options in being in a small town are very limited. Like, my dad's got about 19 kids. My mum, you know, she's 16 at that, like, having me. And I was like, I need to get out, but how am I going to get out? And then I went to the BMX track. Like, and in between that, I would go to all sporting arenas, but I had no money. So I'd jump over the fence or I would like try and sneak in. But all the time, they would always say to me, you're going to have to leave. You've got no parents. You got no money. And I went to the track and there was a guy called Black Bob. And he went, yo, gang, we've got this girl and you're going to look after her. And from there, my life has just been a bit of a roller coaster.
And was it, can you remember when it was that when it was the mud track?
Yeah.
I always thought it was really good, that.
Yeah, man.
It's
like,
too hard now.
Yeah, it's all like extreme and that. But yeah, like Bob had like such a good vibe going at the BMX track. Like it was all volunteer led. We'd go on a Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. But like, we'll get into it. But I'm an addict. I'm a recovering alcoholic. But like, I didn't realise that was my first addiction, which was cycling. Like, and I picked up that bike, Rich, and I swear, like, there wasn't a night that went by where I wasn't like in my head thinking. I had my helmet on a little fucking pillow that I got from Pound Shop, and I'd put my helmet on it and I'd polish it, and every day, like maybe is it manifestation or what, but I just think, right, how tomorrow can I get better? Like, what can I do to get faster? So I'll be on Jeeves. Remember Ash Jeeves?
Yeah.
I'd be tapping in how to get faster, stronger. And I would literally, like Rocky, right? I'd be with sandbags. I'd be like, I'd do anything to get stronger and to get faster. And I did that pretty much from the day I started my career at 10 to the day I finished. And the biggest thing that drove me was people saying that she's never going to amount to anything. She's going to be a drug addict. She's going to be a failure. And every single time, like, a teacher would laugh or, like, you know, my parents, no one ever watched me. In my 20 years of cycling, not one parent came to watch me. Like, nobody watched me. I went to Beijing Olympics, nobody in the audience. Went to London Olympics. My nan ended up going to my mum, but they didn't watch the race. And that was the first race they'd ever seen me race at. And I would just go and I'd use it all as fuel. Like, anything that had happened to me, I'd be like, right, let's fucking go. Let's fucking turn this into something. And so, like, I just thank everyone. Like, my motivation. People ask me, like, how would you stay driven? How would you stay motivated? The people hating on me. Like, it's simple. They say I can't. I say I can. And it's not because I'm, like, egotistical or big-headed.
No.
I believe in what I'm capable of. I know what these legs and this body's going to go and put themselves through. And I'm prepared to go places that people aren't. Like, similar to you. Do you know what I mean? If you want anything in life, you've got to get off your arse and put one foot in front of the other.
It either goes one or two ways, doesn't it? When people say that stuff like that to you, you either go, oh, well, shit, yeah, I'm just shit. Or you go, well, actually, I'm going to show you that you're the dickhead, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, like, where did you get your first bike from? Like, how did that come about? So what made you go from, like you say, go in school? What were you doing? What apart from before the bikes came about, what were you doing? What did you enjoy doing before, and what made you get onto the bike or even get the first bike?
I was a weird kid, Rich. Like, I was a weird kid and a weird adult now. The weirdness never left me. But, right, what it was is I'd see kids my age, and I don't know if I was just born with a bit of an older head on my shoulder, but even as a kid, like, when kids were playing with, like, freaking Action Men or Barbies, I'd just be like, that's so boring. Like, and I think it's my ADHD. I've got ADHD and I can go into that more, but, like, I'd think, like, oh, like, I want to be something, like, and I was, like, playing games and whatever Then I went to school and then quickly found that I was so far behind everybody else. Like I couldn't read.
You weren't academic.
Nah, man. I couldn't tell time till I was about 8 or 9. Like I didn't ride a bike until I was 6, and then I was European champion by the age of 10. But like I just was so far behind, and I was so disruptive. Like I just couldn't sit still. Like I would be in a class, teacher would be talking to me about algebra, and I'd be off. Like and in my head I'd be like, why do I have to do algebra? Like. So my options become super limited. Like I knew academically I ain't going down the college and university route. And I was like, what is it I'm going to be and become? And like everyone was sort of saying, I want to be this and I want to be that. And I was like, I don't want to be any of them. So when I found sport, and that's why I tried everything, boxing, I did canoeing, I did karate, I did any single sport that I could actually, just anything that I seen. I'd always be like going on like line or in the newspaper, in the Chronicle, looking like what new sport or activities on. And then when I started, like I was like, I think I've got these genetics, like I think I've got a bit of a gift. And then when I found that I had a gift, I was like, right, here we go. Like literally, I remember thinking, like, I'll tell you a quick story, right? I was coming home from I remember asking my dad, like, I was doing athletics and I was number 1 at athletics. And then I started BMX around the same time and was doing the both. But athletics, like running around in circles, just did me in. So I was like, surely, like, I could find something else, but I was really good at it. But then when I started BMX, I remember asking my dad, I was like, Dad, will you come and watch me? Like, and he was, all the time, Rich, all my life, I think, I've run off like not feeling good enough, like not feeling like I'm worthy enough. So if I achieve this, this'll do it. If I achieve that, that'll do it. So I remember like being really good at BMX. I was like, my dad will be like well into this. Like it's a masculine sport. He thought women were he's a Jamaican guy and had a disregard for women. And he was like, and I thought BMX is like, burly sport and this'll do it. He came and watched me and he just says, you know what, you're fat. And I won all day as well when he went. He says, you're fat, you're lazy, and you're never going to make it like your mother. He says, you're a waste of space. And that day was the exact day. And I still remember it like it's clear as anything. And he was like, and I looked at him and I remember smiling. And I said, okay, watch this. And then from there, my whole career, like it was just like, if I could bottle that sauce up and sell it, I'd be a multi-millionaire. Yeah. I'm telling you. So like all the things that happen in our lives, like just try and harness them, turn them into
a lesson.
100%.
Everything's a lesson, like
100.
So like childhood, then obviously you started doing that. What was it like at home? And like you said, then it was very hard. What was sort of going through your head at the time when you were doing all these amazing things as a kid? What most adults can't even do. That, even still now. Like, how did that sort of make you feel? Like, how did you get to the places, like Beijing and London and like stuff like that? How did you, because how old were you in starting the Olympics?
18. So it's the youngest cut off, like that's the youngest you could be. So then it only got put into the Olympics when I was 17. So it went from being like a non-mainstream sport to then an Olympic sport sort of overnight for me. Yeah. But so how did I get to there with no money and stuff? So like Junction 16 on the motorway, I was 11, started when I was about 11. If I couldn't get a lift to the race from one of the parents at the track, I'd just walk there with my bike, my one-man tent on my back, my super noodles and beans, and I'd just film a lift. Like, and I'd get in any man's lorry, and I'd find a way. Like, this is, like in my life, I just think you can always find a solution unless it's terminal.
Always a way.
Always, unless it's terminal. And like, so for me, I would just be like, right. And then I was like, I got European champion pretty quickly when I was 10. And then I was like, I want to go to the World Championships. Like, I'm European champion. Everyone's saying I'm going to be, world champion, but I need to go. And it was in America. And I was like, I said to Mum, Mum, like, the world champs in America. I'm the European champion. I got to go. And she was like, got no money. And she was like, how are we? And she said, we'll try. Like, when is it? And I said, it's in July. And she was like, trying to add up her wages and all that. And she was like, I'm not going to be able to send you. And then I asked my granddad, and I think my granddad just thought, it's just another sport she's got into, because I got into them all. And I was like, Granddad, can I have a new karate kick? Granddad, can I have that? And I think Granddad had enough. So he was like, right. And I don't think like they paid attention really at the beginning. And then the police. So my mum came up with she came up with a solution to it. And she was like, I'm going to write to the local newspaper, and then I'm going to try and fundraise for you. So the local police in Crewe, they got the money together along with the council, and they said, right, we've got the money for you. So I was buzzing. And then they said, unfortunately, it's only enough money for you. And I was 11 at the time. So I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, so that was it. Like, mum didn't go, and I went to America on my own at 11. And like, I remember thinking, like, I got to the airport thinking, I've never been on a plane, Rich. Like, it was the first time Blackpool was my holidays. Like, frigging hell. Like, so I was like, oh my God. So I got to the airport with all my bags. And I'm like, I'll do it. And then Granddad said, if you're in doubt, ask someone. So I was like, excuse me, can you tell me where the plane's going to Louisville, Kentucky in America? And like, I just made it happen. Went there for 2 weeks.
As well, like, that's mental.
I mean, maybe I would have been put into social services nowadays, but you know what I mean? Back then, Rich, it cut it. But yeah, I just found a way.
That's mental, isn't it? Yeah. So what did your mum and dad do then? Like, obviously, you just said then that your dad said to you about you'd never amount to, you know, something as good as your mum. Like, what did your parents do for work?
So my mum back then, just like in and out of jobs, like, and she didn't have a set thing. My dad's never had a job in his life, like never worked. Very abusive man to women and stuff. And yeah, they were sort of, my mum and dad. But my nan and granddad was everything to me. They ended up taking, like by 13, I was fully living with my grandparents. My granddad's a plasterer and a grafter, and he would show me what hard work was. And then like I feel like I grew up in sport, mate. Like I didn't grow up in Crewe in my house. I grew up at the track. Like discipline, like Bob, when I went, like he wouldn't take it from me. Like sometimes there was a bit of but I'd answer back in that. And like, he won't take it. It'd be like clean the containers out, like strip the bikes.
Well, that's probably like almost like a father figure, isn't it? And like what you should have been taught sort of thing that you maybe got from him. Do you know what I mean? Like,
100%.
And because I, like, not saying my mum and dad weren't around, but I used to be a fucking gobshite.
Yeah.
I still am. I still am, like, but even that with the army, like, I rocked up to the army, and this was the first day I turned up. And you get, like, signed in and stuff like that, and you go in there with all your bags. And I just thought, right, I'll be really polite, and I'll just call everyone sir. Well, you shouldn't fucking do that, because, as you probably know, if you call the staff or, like, a full screw sir. So I went in and I was like, excuse me, sir, where do I go? And he just turned to me and went, don't fucking call me sir. I work for a living, you little cunt. So he said, fucking get over there. So I went, you cheeky bastard. I was only trying to be polite. He went, fucking get outside now, and fucking beasting me up and down. But like,
you learn your lesson.
There was
quick.
no off switch. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's funny, I suppose. So obviously you did that there, and where did you live? The docks?
Yeah, that's where we were. And then I went to live with my nan and granddad, which is just near town anyway. It's not far. But like, then once that happened, I don't think my family, like literally, I'd go to school, and the PE teachers, or not just PE teachers, they'd all be saying, why are you riding them kids' bikes for? Like, and they would be laughing in my face. My best friends would be laughing in my face. And he'd say, Shin's not right, that's what they used to call me, Shin. They'd be like, she's not right, like, she's obsessed with the bike and that. They go out drinking all the time. Never did that. Like, I never, like, I just was like, I found something that I loved and wanted to do it more and more and more.
Yeah.
And my parents, like, I started making front covers of newspapers, like the Chronicle to begin with, then the front of the Telegraph, then the front of the Daily Mail. And they were like, they started to sort of twig on that I must be pretty good, but still, like, didn't acknowledge.
Still didn't acknowledge it.
Yeah. And like, even still now, like, I've done quite some successful things, drive a nice car and stuff like that. And they've never quite got it. Like, they've not understood how they've gone from laughing at this little BMX bike and to me going to the Olympics and, like you said, going on TV shows or whatever. Like, it's just Shin. Like, they don't even like, I can go around and they'll just chat about the day, like, oh, I'm stressed with him and I'm stressed with that. And I'm like, I've just, like, been to see the Queen. And they're like, I don't give a shit what you've been to see. Do you know what I mean? And so it kept me very humble. Like, I feel like it kept me very humble. But at the same time, I felt like sometimes maybe didn't appreciate or understand what I was.
Or the graft you put in, like, to get where you are.
Because they say, like, it's the running joke in my family. Shin doesn't know a day's work if it on the arse. And I'm like, mate, I've been fucking grafting since I've been 10. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's just not the normal job. Like
No.
people, I think people are dead quick to judge, and it's the same for me. People always go, "Oh yeah, this and that, the other again, and this, that, and the other again," and just fucking focus on this and just get a normal job and this, that, and the other. And I've always been like, "Fuck, I do not want to work for anyone for the rest of my life." Do you know what I mean? And
Why should you?
It's the worst, and I proper wrap myself up. But it's people that have never tried anything outside that box are very quick to go, well, you shouldn't be doing that.
100.
Oh, you haven't grafted a day. Do you know what I mean? Because they've gone and taken bins out for 30 years
Yeah.
and you've done something totally different. They think, well, you haven't grafted because they haven't fucking tried it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas they don't see all them, walks, fucking holding lifts, all
And
stuff
time
like
in
that.
your own head, man. Like,
Yeah.
Because as much as you can be 100% confident in your own abilities, as a human being, we are, programmed to have that self-doubt, and like you're in your own head, like fighting when no one's looking.
You get yourself in a rut.
100, and so people don't even see the psychological impacts that you have to go through to achieve something.
Yeah.
I think it's society's message, like the societal message trying to keep everyone in this little box, right? And it's almost like rude to step out of it. And I find people like you step out of it and it's like, what are you doing? Like, what gives you the right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I have every single right to step outside of that societal message and box, because like, I just feel like everybody's trapped. Like, and it's not everyone's, like, to me, like a winner doesn't define success by the scoreboard. It defines success by getting up and going after whatever makes you happy and drives you. If that's going Tesco every day, working a 9 to 5, and that genuinely makes you happy, happiness is the key to success for me. So like, but for me, so many people aren't happy. So many people are pissed off and not liking what they're getting, yet they'll throw shade and stones at people that are going outside that box, where it's like...
It's just, they're trying to project the shit that they have.
100%, yeah. But it just fuels me, so I love it.
I love it. I'm the same. And it's always that thing where people can't, when people say to you, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. And going back to that same thing, you go, fucking watch me now.
Yeah, watch me. Yeah.
Whereas other people will get in their own head and they go, well, maybe I can't. Oh, maybe I can't do it. And this, that, and the other.
If I listened to one single person when I was at least 10 to 12 years of age,
You'd be at Tesco's working.
Yeah, I'd dread to think what my life would have been.
Yeah.
Like if I would have just gone, oh yeah, you're right, actually, these kids' bikes are a pile of shit. I would have been, I don't even know. I wouldn't be sitting here doing a podcast with you. Do you know what I mean? So like, I just think if anyone is like struggling with self-doubt or like, just like really look at the man staring back at you in the mirror, or the woman, or the, like staring back at you in the mirror, and just be like, what is it that you want from yourself? Not what everybody else is driven by, or, trying to define success by what someone else would think successful.
Yeah.
But what is your success look like to you?
Yeah.
And follow that, because everyone's sheeps, man.
Yeah,
literally, like you could park a car, right? And then on the road, someone else will park behind it, because it's literally like everybody's cloning.
Yeah.
I ain't about cloning. I was born to stand out, not to fit in, man.
Yeah,
and you too, innit?
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
that's right.
Yeah, it's
That's
like,
right.
why does everyone want to be the same? Do you know what I mean?
Because people are scared to do their own thing.
100%.
It's rather, like you say, people would rather follow suit. And it's like a trend, like TikTok.
It
do you know
is,
what I mean?
it's like hashtag
One
trending,
person does a video,
everybody
and
else
100,000
follows.
people will go, oh,
Yeah.
that's really good, I'll do the video.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, at what point then, so obviously, and I suppose, what was like the highlight of all of that?
Yeah, this is kind of going to contradict almost what we were talking about, but not. So for me, 2007, so it was the biggest, 2008 was the Olympics.
Yeah.
I was not dropped a lap for... I hadn't dropped a lap. I beat the men, I beat the women. I hadn't dropped a lap. I was world champion in 2007. But something happened in 2007 that changed the course of what went on in the rest of my career. So I was driven off the haters. I was driven off my dad, and I was driven off negativity. And I remember riding around. It was in China, the World Championships in 2007. I remember winning all day, and I had my semi-final coming up. And I remember speaking to Dr. Steve Peters. If anyone knows him, he wrote The Chimp Paradox. So it's like one of the best-selling books. He's a psychiatrist, and that's who we used at British Cycling. I remember riding around, I had this feeling in my gut. I can't ever explain it, right? And I was like, right, I'll shake this off. So I went riding around the park, and I remember looking up at the sky, like, and I was thinking, something not right with me. Then I burst into tears. Like, this is just before the semi-finals. And I thought, I'm fucking tired. Like, I'm exhausted. Not just tired, I was exhausted. And not physically, mentally and emotionally. And
that's probably just fighting everyone off over the whole years and years.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, and I caught my reflection in a glass window when I was riding around. I remember thinking, I've done enough. Like, this thing of like wanting to get off that windowsill, like wanting to be successful, wanting to prove the hate is wrong. I got exhausted, like, because that run was 18-year run, like, to that point. Like, so I remember thinking, I'm not a failure like my dad anymore. I'm not unsuccessful. Like, I've got money in my bank. You know what I mean? My ego was massive at this point, and I actually thought I was amazing. Like, I thought, fucking, come from crew, smashed it. Tick this box, tick this box. Do you know what I mean? And then I remember just I went back into the team area. I said to Steve, my psychiatrist, I said, Steve, can I have a chat to you? He's like, yeah. I said, I'm done. And he looked at me and he was like, what do you mean you're done? You got the Olympics in 3 months and it's the World Championships, you're about to race. I said, Steve, I don't know what it is. I said, but I'm tired. I said, I'm really fucking tired. I said, like, I've done and raced around the world. I've raced the men, I've raced the women, I've won in a different discipline. We can talk about that. And I was like, I'm world champion on the velodrome, world champion in BMX. I'm national champion, British champion, European champion. What is driving me now? Like, what is driving me? And he was like, no, this kind of thing can happen. Just, you know, like he said, it can happen before the Olympics. Like, and I looked at him and I said, I'm telling you, Steve, I don't feel the same as I did before I rode around this park.
Yeah.
So he said, right, well, how are you feeling? You got your semi-finals in 3 minutes. So I said, yeah. I said, no worries. So I developed this knack, right? And it's not good now. I look back. I'd opened Pandora's box, right? So anytime my chips were down, I always knew I carried this armour bag with me that I'd open the fucker up and I'd be able to look at some sort of trauma I'd faced as a child. There's a lot of domestic abuse and stuff. I'd look into that box and I'd be like, here we fucking go. Like, and I honestly thought I was a machine. Like, I thought I was a machine. Like,
yeah, but you were.
Yeah, like that's what...
you are, even.
Yeah, I mean, I am a machine, but, you know, I've got blood running through these veins. But I just was like, you know, I'll fire it back up. Off I went, won the semi-final, and then final time. And then everyone was like, oh, like, what's going to happen? So I had this French rival woman come back out of retirement, and I was like, no worries, I'll get this done. Give me 10 minutes. And I rode around the park, warming up, ready for the final. Open Pandora's box, and I was ready. So I got on the gate, won the World Championships by a country mile, like, and then the Olympics was next. And then what happened there, like, I kept having this reoccurring dream that something had happened in the last turn. Always something was going to happen. And I kept telling the psychiatrist this before, and I say, I have this dream. He says, yeah, that's normal. And then, obviously, went through the day. And I remember, right, so here's this kid from Crewe. I got to talk to you about the Olympic Village, yeah? And I'm walking, I'd never watched the Olympic Games, ever. I don't like watching sport. I don't watch sport today. Like, I'll play any sport, but I never watch any sport.
Yeah.
Remember walking in? So I thought to myself, I need to know what these Olympics are. So I went W.H. Smith's, right, in Crewe. And I thought, right, I'm going to read a book on someone who's an Olympic athlete, because I was like, I've been good at sport. Yeah. So I was like, is it any different? So I picked up Usain Bolt's book. And then on the way to Beijing, I was reading this book. And then I landed, we get to the village, and I'm not joking you, right? The village is like Disneyland on steroids, but like, it's unreal, right? So much so, I got through and they were cutting the grass with the scissors, like to make, because it was in China, and every strand of grass in the village, and we're talking, it was miles, like massive, the village. And they're cutting it with scissors. And like, you couldn't think of anything else. Like, it's unreal. Like, the village is insane.
You just walked off Derby Docks, 19 people cutting grass with scissors.
And then, right, go through this airport scanner thing, and it's like, you check all your bags in, and then Usain Bolt walks out. And I'm like, shit, this is the Olympics. Then Paula Radcliffe, right? And I'm like, I'm the kid from Crewe. And if I knew what it was then, which is imposter syndrome, like, I thought I shouldn't be here. Like, I'm from Crewe and I shouldn't, how have I made it? I felt like I'd just like come my way into the Olympics.
Yeah.
And I was like walking around, And I remember thinking, this is really different to a World Championships. Like I'd won, was it like 7 of them by that point? And I was like, but this feels different.
Yeah, yeah.
Then Princess Margaret comes to greet me and she wants to speak to me to wish me luck. I was like, this is really different.
Yeah.
Half an hour later, David Beckham knocks on the door and he's like, massive fan, like, love BMX. He says, I've come specially to watch you. I'm 18 thinking, I used to collect you in my sticker book. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, now I've really committed a fraudulent act here. So I was like, what, you on about you're a BMX fan? Like, so it just like completely knocked me off my radar.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like, and you can ask me more questions now, but I'll tell you what happens next.
That's mad. So like, that's insane, isn't it?
Yeah. So it went from everybody laughing, right?
Yeah.
Why riding that kid's bike for?
Fucking David Beckham.
Yeah.
Follows me, mate.
And Princess Margaret, I mean, she's pretty up there. But like, it was just nuts. I was like, I didn't think any, because the sport I never felt got the respect and the recognition it deserved. And then it went from that to like royal family and David Beckham coming to watch. Like it was loads more other like famous people, but they were the 2 iconic people like that came to me first of all. And then from there, like even from that, then I developed a really good friendship with Gordon Brown because after what happened in the final, I ended up sort of like becoming like the X Factor sob story almost. Like I'd never call myself that. But people were inspired by the will to win at all costs. And then like Gordon Brown I started working for his charity and his wife. And like he was like, out of all the Olympic performances, that was a standout one because of how much heart and guts was in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just nuts, man. That's so crazy. And like even thinking of it now, like it was just like I was a deer in the headlights. Like it just, I didn't expect it. Like I went from W.H. Smith's trying to have a bit of a read up on the Olympics to like, here we go, showtime.
To Mo Farah.
Yeah,
and then
literally.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah. Honestly, nuts.
And I like, how did, obviously you seen all them people then, like, did your whole mindset on everything change from when you'd got there to like, sat on the gate thinking, shit, David Beckham's just said hello. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did it like pressure wise, did it throw you off with that or?
Massively. Like it was the first time, right? So I was one of these kind of people, right? That was like mental health, pull yourself together.
Yeah.
Like what's wrong with you? And then that was when I first had my first panic attack in Beijing. And I remember going back to my room and everyone in my room that I was sharing with, so we stay in apartments. I had like Victoria Pendleton, Rebecca Romero, and then a girl called Wendy. So they'd gone before me. So they'd already raced. So Vicky had got 3 gold medals. Wendy had got 2 gold medals. And then so Rebecca had got two other gold medals. Wendy had got a silver. And I was like, these are a lot older than me, like about 12 to 14 years older than me. And I was like, I'm next. Like, it's my race next. And I was sitting there with all these medals all in this thing. And like the baby of the group, like I was the youngest person to go, the youngest squad member to go to Beijing. And I remember just thinking, I've really fucked it here. Like, I've really fucked it. And I was like, I didn't know what was happening to my body, but it was like, felt like it was shutting down. Like, I couldn't breathe. Like, and then I was like, I'm not going to tell anyone. Like, because I felt like if I was going to tell anyone, it was going to make me feel less like a robot. And I was like, I'm a robot. Like, I don't do this. Like, what's happening to me? I didn't sleep for 3 days up to the race. Like, I didn't sleep. Like, I just was like, I'm at the fucking Olympic Games. Like, and I felt, right, like a performing monkey at a circus. Like, the Olympics for me, beautiful event, biggest sporting event known to man. But to me, it felt like we were all on a rodeo show and it was putting on a little performance for the people come to watch. And I just couldn't get into the groove of it. And yeah, it was just something that I'll never forget, that first Olympics. Like, it should have been like, yeah, here we go, like the biggest race of my life, you're world champion. People put so many bets on me, like lost thousands of pounds. Like, I was odds on favourite. Like, Chris Hoy, he put a massive bet on me. Like, people were like certain, like I was sponsored at the time by Red Bull, Visa, Sky, Cadbury's, Nike. Like just massive sponsors all ready for me to just come home with the medal.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I'm 18 and I've got this whole internal pressure and external pressure to perform. And I was like, right.
And was that like on the sponsors and stuff? Was that on the squad or was that on you
my
personally?
Personal sponsors. So I had more sponsors than any, like, it was weird again, Rich, right? It went from laughing.
But it's never been done before, has
No.
it? So that's why probably people...
They just got a bit, like, I think because I was, maybe my colour as well, like no one in British cycling was of any, like it was a lot of white people. And then I was just this tearaway kid from Crewe that everyone was like, oh, like, she's a pain in the arse, to like, fuck me, she's like one on the velodrome now with Victoria Pendleton. Then she's winning up. And then like, I sort of surprised my own self at my capabilities, and I was just plowing through everything. I was like, next one, and then like the Olympics was just like, fuck. Like I literally remember thinking, right, how am I going to handle this? And then so what happened? Crashed twice. So there were 6 races, and I crashed 3 times out of 6 races. I've never crashed in a bike race before, unless I've like just had a bit of an off.
Yeah,
I crashed on my own, like literally the first one. Time trial, come out the gate, time trial. So it was just on my own.
Just you.
Just me, right? Came into the first turn, like I hadn't hit the first turn that quick, and I just washed straight out, crash number 1. But that hurt me, crash number 1. So crash number 2 came as the racing started. I did the first race. No, it was the first race. I crashed in the very first race, and I did my hamstring. So no one knew this. Like I tore my hamstring off, and then I'd done something to my elbow. And I was in fucking agony. Like, I was in so much pain. And I was like, I'm here now. Like, and then, so what happened? Come round to the finish line. And they said, we medically withdrew you from the Olympics. And I was like, what you on about? You medically withdrew me. They said, you've sustained the hamstring injury. Like, you're medically now not fit. So I was like, I had 5 minutes. So it's every 5 minutes we're up again. And I was like, what are you on about? I'm fine. Like, I'm all right. I can do this. They said, if you're going to do this, we're going to have to, like, we can't actually medically supervise you if you crash again. I said, I don't care. So went off, won the next one. But it was going to be shit or bust if I was going to make it to the final because of the points. And then in the final, like all day, I didn't feel like myself. I felt like it felt like someone just took my stabilizers off. Yeah. And I was like, okay, now, like, what do you do with this? The final was the only lap where I felt like me. And I remember going up the stairs, right? And I looked down at the finish line and I thought, in 30 seconds, I'm going to be Olympic champion. And I've never thought about the after because I've got to deal with the now. But I was thinking about the after before I dealt with the now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember looking down and I remember thinking, my life's going to change. I'm going to be a fucking rock star. Like, I've got all these sponsors. I'm going to come home on this plane with a golden nose and the British
Drinking Red Bull and eating Cadbury's.
Yeah, there you go. And I thought, I'm going to quit then. I'm going to be the best.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that very quickly. And then it was on to the gate. And I remember thinking, it's fine, I'm all right. Led it out, did what I did, and I executed an amazing start. But I'd crashed in that first turn in that first race. And I had like a big thingy with it.
See it in your head.
Yeah, I could. And I knew that. I thought, right, I've crashed there. Just let me stay rubber side up. Like, say rubber side up, get out of the first turn, and you're fucking sweet. And I remember going in, and I thought, fuck, I could feel the French girl on the inside of me. And then as I'd gone around the turn, it asked to drift me up because it was like, because it had been the year before they built the track, it had all started crumbling a bit on the turn.
Yeah.
So I went in hot, so it drifted me up and I started skipping a bit. So she slotted underneath. And I remember this race seemed 3 hours. Bearing in mind the race is 32 seconds. Yeah. And I remember thinking everything went into slow motion. Like the world stopped. So I was like, fuck, I've never raced from behind. Never raced from behind. Only raced from the front. And I remember thinking, right, you're on the back foot now. And I thought, right, let her go, and then switch to the other side, and then blow by her. So I tried that, and then we were neck on neck, but she was on the inside of me. So I thought, right, so we go into the second turn then, hip on hip, let her go in front. Then I'm like, right. And I remember thinking, in this last turn now, I'm either going to fucking die or I'm going to win, right? And I was like, in my head, I was like, it's gold or nothing. I thought, since being 10 years of age, since going up and down Morrison's, fucking doing me sprints, moment, I was like, I don't want a silver medal. Like, I felt disgusted at that point in my life. I was like, I'm a winner. So I was like, right. And I just fucking went for it. And I thought, I've got it. So as I took off, went to land, she's just in front. I thought, you're going to blow into next week here. So I landed, and as I was landing, I see on the bottom of the track, right? So before semi-finals and finals, they'd gone and put the airbags out. And I looked down as I was landing, and I thought, you fucker. So I've had to jump and swerve, and because I was going to clip, it was going to be fine lining and the white line.
Yeah.
But I was going to clip the airbag, and I would spec me over. So I swerved out and just ploughed into her. That's when my life changed. Like that crash there was the defining moment of making me who I was today. But from there was pain.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't believe. Like to fall off at the biggest race, like competition that there is. It's like gladiators, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, and to fall off there, being favourite, bearing in mind, got all the celebrities there. The stadium is full. Like everyone's got banners with Go Shanaze Reade. Like, and I was just like, I fucking decked it. So talk about being humbled. Talk about like picking yourself back up from the very bottom of the fucking pile. You got to wait 4 more years to the next Olympics. It's not the year after. It's every 4 years.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, how are you going to get back up?
Yeah.
And that climb from getting back up, I reckon it took me 10 years properly to be whole again, because I don't think I was whole to begin with. So
because even like, I mean, I've obviously seen it, and like it wasn't a big off. Like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't like a oh shit that hurt. It was like a little crash, but you just lay there. Do you know what I mean? Like when you were sat down, when you, because you're like, I think you had your head down, didn't you? And you just lay there, just dead still, and I was like, what was going? Because I thought straight away as soon as I seen that, I was like, what was going through your head when that happened? Like
something died in my soul. Like, and I'll tell you about this, but something died in my soul, and I found it in SAS on the hills in Scotland. Never thought I would, but I found it there back, right? So
it's fucking far away from China.
He would have thought it was in Scotland waiting for me. But basically, I crashed, and again, it's like the world come to a standstill. And I could have jumped back up. Usually, I just jump back up, and I wasn't that hurt to not be able to jump back up. But I remember thinking, like, I am a failure now. Like, I fucked this. Like, I remember just thinking, I just felt like there was no way to come back. Like, what am I meant to do? Go and shake her hands? Go to the after party? Like, what am I meant to do? Like,
I
had no family there, and like the time difference, like, and I just thought, like, I literally felt like someone set me on fire. Like, I felt like, that's me done now. That's me dead on that track, and it'll just let me disintegrate into the surface. And I didn't know, like, I'd never found myself in a position with not knowing an answer. I didn't know what I felt. I didn't know what was I now. Like, I'd been shattered. Like, I was Shanaze, never lost a bike race. I was never beaten by the women. So, like, I had a massive chink in my armour. I could be beat. So even just thinking of that, like, I've been beat. Like, and that I've been to a race. So I'd never been to a race where I hadn't occupied the podium. And I was like, I remember hearing the French national anthem going, and I was like, that should have been me. Like, and I just think from there, I made it up. Like, I really made it up. And I went home, got back home, flew home. And on the plane, they shouldn't have let me travel. Like, it was a piss take, what they did, like a real piss take. And they basically had gold medal winners in first class, but ultra first class. It was different. This plane was kitted out not in a normal way.
Yeah.
So they were in upstairs, them lot. Silver medals, first class. So it was like 2 versions of first class.
Yeah.
Silver medals, first class. And it was bronze medals, a premium economy, right? I tore my hamstring from at the top and at the bottom.
Yeah.
I get on the plane with a pair of crutches, like out of my wheelchair. Then I get on in my crutches. And I said to the woman, and we get to the front, and she's like, gold medalist this way, silver this way. And I'm thinking, right, we're at the cattle class. So, and you can imagine, right, fucking everyone's booming up there, and us cannon fodder who've just had our dreams ripped out of us are all in this fucking economy, and no one spoke. And I was like, I can't bend my leg, right? So anyway, at British Cycling, everyone was just listening to this, like they were all amped up about this. Like. And I'm like, I'm injured here, guys. Nah, didn't pay attention. So I got home, my leg goes like Elephant Man, right? I'm laying on my mum's sofa, and I'm like, I don't feel well, mum. She's like, just lie down, I'll get you a blanket. And then I woke up, vomited everywhere, and I was like, something's not right. And my leg was shiny, yeah. So mum whisked me to the hospital, and I had a blood clot, and I ended up staying in Leighton Hospital for a week. That I don't even talk about this, because, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you just get on with it. But I ended up being in Leighton Hospital, and having to have nurse after nurse ask me about the Olympics. How are you? How do you feel?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do I feel? I feel like I fucking died, and like you're talking to me since I've been dug up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like, so I spent a week in hospital, got the blood clot under control, and then just went dark. Like,
And how old were you then?
18.
18.
Yeah, and I didn't leave my room for 3 months. Like, I came home, I got invites from the Queen to go to the garden party. I got invites to go to fucking Paris Fashion Week. I was getting all these insane things, right? Turned everything down. Every single thing down. I didn't go to nothing. Money was coming through my nan and granddad's door, right? People were sending money, champagne. They were sending fucking beautiful gifts. And I couldn't accept a single one. Like, I felt like the biggest fraud. And people would write into me then saying, I'm a waste of taxpayers' money. Like, she should be dead. The black bastard. Like, and the amount of abuse. And I still remember, I must have got 20,000 nice ones. But these people, like whoever the keyboard warriors was.
Savage, innit?
Savage. I was 18, I was a kid. And they were writing stuff that was, I wouldn't even put that pen to paper and bring myself to write what they wrote about me.
Yeah.
And I stood there as an 18-year-old and was like, right, you know, my family, they didn't care if I raced or didn't race. And it was like, your back's against the wall fully now. What are you going to do? And I was like, right, still, then options are limited. Like, I'm still not academic. Funny old thing after racing the bike. It's not made me any more academic.
Just bang me head a few more times.
So I was like, right, I've got to carry on. But that version from 2008 for me, I was like, it was almost like Mark II of who I was. Like, I was just doing that off of talent and, you know, like, but it wasn't out of heart. Like, and the heart I had to pull in and dig deep from, it hurt me, Rich. Like, it hurt me a lot. Like, I felt like I was just always carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. Like, if I fell, no one's rescuing me. Like, if I lose all my money, no one's rescuing me. Like, if I get, you know, disabled from a bike accident, no one's there. So I just felt like all the time, like I would get up every morning and I was putting that suit of armor on and saying, let's go. But like, it took a lot out of me. And that's why in the end, I just said, you know what I mean? I've got to call it a day. But it's knowing when to stop in the pursuit of your goal. Do you know what I mean?
Especially if you're not enjoying it anymore and you're doing something because you're good at it and not because it's making you happy.
Definitely.
Do you know what I mean? And again, you just get yourself into a rut.
But I don't know if it ever made me happy. This is the thing, and I don't know if you can look back in your life.
Do you think you were doing it for the wrong reasons? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than the right one?
Yeah, I do. I think it was always just to get the approval of my mum and dad. Like, if I'm genuinely honest, right, I honestly think I just needed to find a spot. I was good at all sports, but I needed to be accepted, and I needed to feel like I belonged. Now, that could have happened in an array of sports, and I'm not saying that I'm the jack of all, but I was pretty good at, like, sports. So, like, I feel like because it was Bob there, it ended up being BMX just because he was there, and it was giving me what I was lacking, which was that parent that, you know, like, and my nan and granny were great, but still, like, my mum and dad, I didn't get taught a single thing from them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, when then I met Bob and fell into that world, I don't know if I never liked BMX, you know, like, it made me trainers dirty. There was elements of the sport that I didn't like, but I was fucking good at it. And when I found I was good at it, I'd go again. And then, you know what I mean? It ended up successful. Yeah. But like track cycling, I won 2 gold medals with Victoria Pendleton and broke 3 world records. I'd never rode a track bike in my life. From 6-week mark, they laughed at me. I asked it British Cycling, I was training in 2007. Said to them, what's this new event that's added? They said team sprint. And he said, it's going to mirror the men's. And I said, right. I said, how do you do it and that? And I remember him looking at me, and I hadn't been on a track bike ever, never been on one. And he said, what do you want to know that for? And I was like, well, I'm doing training in the winter because I needed to for BMX. I was doing training with them. So I was like, well, I just want to know. So they were like, you just concentrating on getting a bit of winter prep under your belt for your sport. Like, you stick to BMX. I thought, nah. So I said, tell me what time I need to do. They said you need to do, like, a world record time would be like 19.8 seconds. So I was like, right. So I said, can I try and enter the World Championships? He was like, you can't enter the World Championships in 6 weeks. So basically, so I asked him, how long have I got? And so, no, I said what time to do, yeah? And they said 19.8 seconds or whatever it was. So I said, next week, can I have a test run? And they were laughing again. So I said, no, I want you to get the start gate out and I want to bash out a lap and see where I stand. And they were like, you've never been in the start gate or anything. I was like, don't worry about that. I said, just let me try it. So this was 5 weeks to go to the World Championships. So they get the gate out, all standing there, ready to laugh at me. So I think, ready for this. I'm ready for this. I open up the pipes and I do 19.5 seconds, right?
That's right.
They're laughing, silence. They rolled past and then I heard them, we need to see if these timings are right today, right?
Has that been calibrated?
Yeah. So they didn't still tell I was a fraud. So they were like, right. And then they came back and they were like, it all changed, Rich. The laughing stopped.
All of a sudden.
Yeah.
Mate, we're going out for tea tonight. Do you want to come with us?
It was literally that. Can you stay behind this today, they said, and we can look at your training, right? So I stayed behind and they were like, right, we think that you could stand a chance, but you've got 6 other girls in the squad who are full-time track cyclists who want to be a part of the World Championships.
And you just completely took the piss out of them.
Yeah, so these have been from private schools, fully kitted out on these bikes, right? And I was like, right. So then Victoria Pendleton was going to ride with the fastest person. So she was the fastest woman 2 in the team, and then we needed the woman 1. Within 3 weeks, I'd already broken the world record in training. So we go to the World Championships in Palma in Mallorca, and I'm standing in there, and Victoria had won 2 gold medals in the other events before that. Then it was like, can she go for the triple, right? So the newspaper, everything started amping up. Again, Rich, deer in the head. I was thinking, what's all this about? So they were like, can you do press with her? Are you going to be able to help her with these 3 medals?
Yeah.
I thought, well, I'll give it a go. Do you know what I mean? And I remember Vicky was dead nervous, right? And she was like, how do you do it, Shanaze? And I went, what do you mean? So it was race morning. And I said, well, Vic, look, see this stand, these grandstands filled for about 5,000 people. I said, imagine them on the shitter, toilet. I said, just imagine them sitting on the toilet. I was like, at the end of the day, we're here in Mallorca, riding round in circles on little kids' bikes, having a great time. I was like, why are you nervous? Like, what you got to be nervous about? Push on the pedals and see how it goes. And she was like, you're not right, Shanaze. And I said, just keep it simple, stupid. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, rip round the track and just be done with it. And she was like, are you not nervous? And I remember saying to her, you're only nervous if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah. And I said, I know what I'm doing. All I'm doing is pedaling the bike, Vicky. Like, how hard can it be? So we went on and won the world title. And like, everyone was like, who is this person? Like Shanaze Reade, like we've never even seen her on a track bike. And she stood there winning the world title.
Yeah.
And that, again, going back to it, was all because they said I couldn't. I never had on my cards I wanted to be a track cyclist. Didn't give a damn about being a track cyclist. But it was the fact that they turned around and said,
you can't do it.
Yeah. And I was like, I'll show you. And it's not like, I just believe in my own ability. Do you know what I mean? There's certain things that I'm never going to be an astronaut. Do you know what I mean? But like other
never
things,
say never.
Never say never. Actually, stranger things have happened. But yeah, like I just think like if I believe it in my heart, I can see it, then I can achieve it. And I fully believe that. Like, and to date, everything's backed up that I've been able to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I seen a reel video on Instagram the other week, sorry. And I always look back and share it, and it was a bloke. I don't know who it is or where he was, but he just turned around and he went, how big would you dream if you knew you couldn't fail?
Love it.
But it's right though, isn't it? Like, because if you constantly tell yourself, it's going to work, it's going to go right, I'm going to do this anyway, it's going to, you will do it.
Of course you will. What way I see it, life's one big excursion, right? We're all on our way to the cemetery. Every single one of us is on our way to the cemetery, right? Some are on here for a good time, some are here for a short time or whatever. But we're all on that destination to the cemetery, right?
Yeah.
So when we get there, because we're all going to get there, like, why not get, like, what stops you? Like, so it's an excursion. Some things you'll like, some things you won't like. But, like, that voice in your head is the strongest and most powerful voice. It's the strongest weapon you've got available to you.
Yeah.
So if you hear 1,000 people tell you no, who are them people? What do they know what's on your head?
Yeah.
So like for me, if I honestly, the easiest thing for me to achieve a goal is just look in the mirror and say, what you got? Like, are you going to bring it? And I just think like, yes, because I'm going on the way to the cemetery. Could never be here. You know what I mean? I might not experience all this. Hopefully we do in an afterlife. But like, I'm like, let's fucking go. Like, if I fall on my face at the Olympic Games, the biggest sporting event known to man, I survived. I got over it, and it's made me a more rounded, robusted person. So fucking just go for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I just think whatever you want to achieve, what stops you? A qualification, a bit of hard graft. What stops you? And
it's you. It's you against you, innit?
And it's only temporary. Like, you're gonna, once you get there, like, it's like put in the graft. Like, what's life about? What to exist? Just plod along and then never get tired and fatigue yourself. Like, fucking open the wings up and go. Do you know what I mean? And if you fail, and learn from it and see how you go again. Because I just think, like, we can all be tired. We can all not be arsed. But, like, you get what you get. So, like, why not just be a bit tired for a bit longer? And you know it's going to pay off, and you're going to be living the life you want to, or you're going to achieve something you thought or people thought was, a joke. I don't see it. Like, anything that I want to do, like the book I wrote last year, it was all purely because, right, I tell you where the book did really come from, why I wrote the book. So my dad's dying of cancer, right? And I heard about this about a year ago. I was on a cruise ship, and I get a phone call. First phone call of this cruise trip was that my nan's had a stroke. The day before that, I had 3 phone calls that was very pivotal. So the first phone call was, my brother's gone to prison for life. Second phone call, like 2 days later, is your nan's had a stroke, she's in hospital. And the third phone call came in, and I was like, right. And I just think, like, life chucks at you and changes the course of things, but it's how you respond to it. Like, it's fucking 100%. How you respond to it. Do you know what I mean? And with all that, it's like, right, we are here for a short time, like, and if you really sit down and look at yourself in the mirror, like, not what anyone else thinks, no one knows you better than you. No psychiatrist, no mum, no dad. We spend 24 hours, 7 days a week in this vessel. Only me, you spent it in yours. Like, and I just think, like, whatever you want to achieve, no matter who's laughing, who's not laughing, just go for it.
Yeah. If you don't think it's possible, why would anyone else think it's possible?
Exactly. Like, no one thought electricity was possible until I think his name's Thomas, wasn't it? Thomas to come up with it. Yeah. So, like, no one thought it was possible. No one thought, like, you know what I mean? Like, so I just think it's possible once it's done, and someone's got to do it. And why not you? So, like, and if you haven't got the minerals, don't even bother entertaining yourself. The biggest thing I always say is, don't bullshit your own self. Because you will get found out. What happened, Rich, right? I do my old race career. I get fucking exhausted. Was that goal ever really mine? Or was it for a different course? Like, or was it because that goal was going to make me happy? It wasn't. And then, funny old thing, the mask fell off, and I hated BMX then. But, like, I just think, as long as you're integral and true to yourself, and you can feel it and believe it in your heart, roll them sleeves up. You're on the way to the cemetery. Fucking go. Do you know what I mean? 100%. Yeah, don't and not be one of these people who smoke in mirrors. Like, and me and you chat about this a lot. There you go, right? So, like, you can. I hate that saying, "Fake it till you make it." I really do, because who are you faking it to?
Yourself.
There you go. Right, unless you believe it. Like, and hustle in silence. Like, why put your cards out to the world? Because the world's ready to knock you down. But, like, what I do is, like, going back to the third phone call, get a call about my dad dying. So I write him a big, long message, right? And I'm like, I hadn't spoke to my dad for 25 years. And
Still now?
I don't, like, and I'm saying my dad for PC reasons here, but he's my sperm donor. Like, that man's offered nothing. So, like, I get this call to say he's dying, so I write him this letter that hands it to him, like, about himself. And all he did is wrote me a letter back and said, go and read a book. So I thought, right, I'm going to write one. And he blocked me. No, he blocked me last year, right? So I was like, right. And he said, go read a book. He said, I'll tell you what to do, go read a book.
And is he crew as well?
Yeah, he's in crew. And I thought, I'm going to fucking write one. Don't tell me to read a book. And then I had the teachers. She can't read and write. She's got dyslexia. She's got dyspraxia. She's got ADHD. I thought, I'll fucking show you. I'm not just about substance of something that's physical. I can do anything. I can do anything. If I say I can, I will. Do you know what I mean? So I wrote a book. So, like, that was way off the mark. It weren't an SAS thing. It weren't a physical thing. It was sitting there, putting my money where my mouth was, doing something that made me uncomfortable for 6 weeks. I pretty much wrote the book. But I was like, I can do anything. Like, and it's not, like, big-headed, and it's not whatever. Just wrote a book. Do you know what I mean?
It's fulfilling you, innit?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
I'd probably go one further and send him a book and say, you read one and send him your book.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's all to come.
But like, do you not think then maybe you were meant to crash that day? Like, obviously you said everything went down, but did everything go up? Do you know what I mean? Like
100%.
to build, obviously you're doing all these amazing things now. Do you not think that was meant to happen for the right reasons, not for the wrong reason?
100. And like a lot of people come to me and say they're lost, right?
Yeah.
I'm lost. I don't know who I am, what I am. And I say, you can't be lost if you have direction. Like if you have direction, you can't be lost. If you got a sat nav, that sat nav will keep you on track, right? I didn't have a sat nav back then. Now, what I did have is fuel in my heart and like this desire to prove people wrong. Prove people, you know what I mean? Like I can do this.
Yeah.
So when I didn't have direction in that, one thing I missed. So when I crashed, what I found when I crashed was purpose. Now, I didn't know it at the time. If a human being has purpose, and they'll get inevitably direction from it. And from direction, your world's your oyster. You got your mud map to life.
Yeah.
So for me, when I crashed, I got humbled. But as we go on in the story, from the crash, I become an alcoholic. So through all these things, what happened, down and, you know, like catastrophic life-changing events in my life, I found my purpose. From then, like, and if I would have won, would have become the rock star, would have become the fucking arsehole, would I have found my purpose and direction? No, I wouldn't. Yeah. So when I look back, so now my purpose and direction is to help other individuals. I understand about mental health. I really understand about mental health. I understand what it's like to be at the rock bottom and to not know even like, oh, feel like the lights are on. I get that. I've been there. I've been in them positions. I was the kid who said, pull yourself together. Like, there's nothing wrong with mental health. So through all of it, through my rock bottoms, through my adversities, I found who I am and what makes me tick. Back then, I didn't wear makeup. I didn't feel feminine. I thought, because I still felt like I should have been my dad's son, not daughter. Yeah. So I was like, right. So through all of that, it's taken me, I said, a lot of years. Like healing is not a linear journey or linear process, but it's a process that can get you healed. And through it all, I found out who I am and what makes me tick. So would I have found that with a gold medal? Absolutely not. I could come back out of retirement now, Rich. Like I come back out of retirement in 2019 and got British champion in track cycling. I could come back out, like sponsors still want me to ride. Like I coached the girl who won the Olympics in Tokyo, Bethany Shriver. I was her coach. I got her from 30th in the world to Olympic champion in 8 months. Now, with all that, like, that's because I found out who I am and what makes me drive. 100%. I don't follow what trends. Like, it didn't say hashtag write a book is trending. Like, I don't follow what is the curves. I follow what's internally in. Yeah. And I can never go wrong. I've got my sat nav. Do you know what I mean? And
because it always goes back then to that, like, and the same with me, that whole thing of people going, oh, fucking hell, this now. Do you know what I mean? What's next? Oh, this, that. And it's just doing it for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I similar, like I find that I've tried all these things, done all these things now. I'm 31, and now it's starting to work. Do you know what I mean? Everything's, it's been bumps and downs and stuff like that, but now I feel like, right, okay, that whole sat nav thing. Do you know what I mean? Rather than going, right, what's working? Now it's poof, right, you know what you're doing now.
100%. I always say, like, I don't speak about my faith much, but I got sober from a God of mine own understanding. Like, and I feel like nothing happens in God's will by mistake. Like, and God doesn't have a watch. Like, a lot of us think we're defined by age, we're defined by time. We're not. Like, we're really not. You know, I spiel off like the guy of KFC. When did he become a C? Like, you know, these people.
And he died a year later.
Exactly. You know, and I just think like. No, God doesn't have a clock, and you can be and do anything and start it. You know, it's like your day. If your day's going shit, people are going, oh, it's a fucking shit day. Start your day again. Like, why are you not starting your day again? It's 24 hours your day. Like, why are you going to have a shit day because you had a shit morning? It's like, start your day again.
Having a bad day is a choice.
Yeah, and, right, what gets me? Realistically, right, Say you do 2,000 things and they all fucking fail, and 200 million people laugh at you. Who gives a fuck? We're all going to the cemetery.
Yeah.
So who cares?
And you're never going to see them 200 million people again anyway.
And if you did well, and then 2,000 million people said, "Oh, well done." What does it matter? You're fucking killing it.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't understand noise. Like, I don't hear noise. Like, people will be bashing. I'm like, fuck off, man. You go in the cemetery. I'll see you there before or after. Do you know what I mean? And
I'll
I'm
just
like,
have a nicer box than you will.
Yeah. And like, I just think, like, you know, if I do something and I make a fool of myself, aren't we meant to? Like, it's I think people take themselves far too serious these days.
Yeah, they do.
Do you know what I mean? Like, and they're very like rigid of what this one thinks and is this right and where do I fit in? Just be you.
Yeah.
Everybody else is taken. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's more accepted now than it as well. It used to be. Like, I was always that person who would go into a room and just be a raging lunatic and just be hyperactive to death, and you'd be like, people would almost look at you as if you were weird. Do you know what I mean? And it's still a little bit like that, but like, I've been to board meetings, like for meetings with like potential clients, and all these directors are wearing fucking suits. Do you know what I mean? Around a big, square table, and all la-di-da. And I've rocked up in a hoodie and jeans and trainers on and go, all right, lads, how's it going? And they've all been like, you fucking, you know what I mean? Sitting there going, you fucking what?
Yeah.
But within half an hour, I left that room, they were all laughing the bollocks off.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they go like, right, okay, Sam, we want to work with you. So I think now it's more accepted than it was. Do you know what I mean? Like, in that sense. But like, where do you think like the alcohol thing came from? Like, you personally, do you think it was more you were going out? Like, I've got a lot of friends that turn to drink and stuff like that, but a lot of people also just were drinking a lot and then become dependent on it, but not out of like, I need this, but doing it socially too much and then being like, fuck, I do this every day now. Do you know what I mean? Like, or were you doing it as such a, I just want to get pissed to forget everything, or do you know what I mean? Is your way of coping? Like, what was it? It's
funny with addiction. I believe it starts with the hole in the soul, right? And I feel like as we grow, or like, if you've got a clean bill of health of a childhood that's been fucking great and nothing's been bad, but in my take, and I can only talk from my experience, why I'm an alcoholic, is that I was subject to a lot as a child, like a lot. I don't go heavily into it, but there was a lot of stuff I seen that I shouldn't have seen as a kid. There was a lot of like court cases that I was involved in that I shouldn't have been involved in. Social services were involved. I shouldn't have been in places that I was in. And with all of that, trying to get the approval of mum and dad, not getting it. Like, it formed what I went on is the great run of my life. Like, it was the great escape. Yeah. But, right, I went with that helmet on, fucking bum, 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 round the world, like ripping titles to shreds. Yeah. But doing all that, like, I got exhausted and I was running, essentially. I was running from something. And that, no matter, I'd never drank. Like, I never used to drink, like, I didn't go out with my friends to drink or anything. My dad was an alcoholic, so I was like, I fueled off not wanting to be that. Yeah. And then the helmet came off. And when the helmet came off, I was left with me. Like, the career was done. Like, and it was...
And was that you just spending a lot of time with yourself then?
No, I spent Thursday and I decided to be an alcoholic on the Monday. Like, Thursday I was off the programme. I decided that was off. By Monday morning come, and I thought, right, what do you do with 24 hours, right? So from the age of 10, or before that, I'd been in the athletics club and stuff. All I knew was sport. That's it. I didn't care about school, didn't go half the time. All I did was try to be the best athlete I could be to begin with. Then it was the best cyclist in the world. And that's all I put my focus into. Then when that came, like, and putting that helmet on and racing the race and having the accolades, like busying yourself, like really busying yourself, I didn't like learn the art of stillness or what was going to happen when I become still. So it went severed. It was like my career just went bang, and then it was like you're done now. Like, and I remember Monday thinking, well, all my friends are at work, like they work. That's what normal people do. Then I was like, by Tuesday, I was like, fuck me. Like, what do you do with 24 hours? Like, usually I'm at the track or I'm going to the gym or I'm packing my bag, I'm doing my meal prep, and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I had a lot of money in my bank and I lived in a beautiful house. And I was like, I'm fucking bored because I've got ADHD. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I thought, you know what? All my life, I've never done what normal people have done. Never gone out drinking. Never done all that. I thought, I'm fucking going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. So I pretty much did. I ended up going out in the West End. I just decided that I was going to be like a rock star. Like, cool, I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
And then I was going out and I was like going to Panacea and all that in Manchester. I only did it for a very short period, right? And I'd get there and go, these ain't my people. This isn't it. Like, I just remember thinking, this isn't it. And then I'd go somewhere else and think, oh, they're all part. I think I'm not happy. I'm not actually happy. So very quickly, my drinking went indoors. Like, I didn't want anyone to admire me. I just wanted to drink myself to death. Because when I picked up that stopped.
Yeah.
Like, it stopped that hole in the soul. And like the flashbacks and everything else that there was. And I had to fucking sit and try and face what I'd been through or how I felt over the years. And it was like fucking Pandora's box just went boom and blew its bonnet off. And I was like, I can't deal with it. So I would just like binge drink. I was like a binge drinker. I'd drink on and off and I'd be like, see, I can stop. And then it was going on and on and on. And by the time like it was 2016 Olympics and I decided I was going to drink myself to death. The Olympics started. I went to the shop and I bought as much alcohol. I filled the trolley and I was like, I'm going to be dead. I won't see the BMX come on because it was at the end of the timetable. And I was so happy with myself. I thought, yeah, and I'm not a coward. I thought I can drink myself to death. Now, how sad is that I was proud of myself that I'm about to kill myself with drink. Yeah, and I fully accepted it. I was 18.5 stone, pissing and shitting blood every day, and I was comfortable with taking my own life like that. So when I start drinking, blacking out. I didn't know if I woke up, it was day. I didn't know if it was night. And then my partner at the time, she was Harry Styles' tour manager. So she'd gone off to America. And I was like, right, I timed everything right. But she came home because Harry had a problem on tour. So she came home and something had happened and they were changing it. And when she came home, she basically, she did save my life. I ended up going to see her family in Sunderland. And when we were there, I was having a great time. It was drinking still and everything. And then on the way home, I lived in Poynton at the time in Cheshire, and she came through Wilmslow, and I was thinking, why is she driving back through Wilmslow? And then we ended up in this car park, and I was like, what are we doing in here? It's a fucking church car park. And she went, it's not about what we're doing, it's about what you're doing. And I went, what do you mean what I'm doing? And she went, I can't take you seeing you like this anymore. Like, she said, I don't understand like how you've just gone from being so successful to like a down and out. I didn't shower. I was just an absolute mess, right? I'd give completely up. And she said, like, you're worth more than this. So I was like, yeah, but why are we in this car park? And she said, it's AA. Like, you, and I went, AA? And I was like, are you fucking joking me? I said, I was in a billboard in Wilmslow last week and you're going to mortify me, sending me in there. And I had this argument with her and I was like, it was all ego and denial and fear. And I was like, I can't, I'm not going in there. So she said, like, we're going to finish if we don't, you don't go in. So I went in and I was like, I felt disgusted that she was making me do this, like a punishment. I remember sitting there and I thought, all right, these lot are going to have brown paper bags sitting in this room. And I was the only one who looked like fucking death. I remember walking in and everyone looked so well. And I thought I was in the wrong room. And I was like, right. So then they started talking. And they were like, all I heard from that meeting, if you keep drinking, your life will get worse. If you stop drinking, your life will get better. And I thought, mate, you're fucking about 60. You've used your tokens up. I'm 27. Like, I'm 27 years of age. Like, how do I stop drinking? Like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then I heard at the end, keep coming back. It works if you work it. It doesn't if you don't. I didn't pay a shit. So get back in the car. I was give it her, like, you've made me do that. But I heard some things in there, and I was like, But I thought, I ain't got an issue with drinking. I can stop if I want to. So she said, I'm never going to take you again. She said, that's the only time I'm ever going to take you to there. And if you don't think you've got a problem, then we're splitting up. So I was like, right, sound. So I kept going back. But what I did, I'd go to a meeting, 9:30 would come, I'd be pelt out of there to the off licence, drink myself, black out again. And I kept doing it. And one day, fucking alcohol had smacked me good and proper around the head. Like, I felt like I was dying, like really dying. And I went to the meeting and I thought, you know what? Like, I want what these people have got. Like, they've found some fucking solution. They're all dead happy. They're living a life beyond the wildest dreams, and they're free. And I was like, I just want what they've got. And that was happiness more so than stopping drinking. So I was like, right, I thought I'm going to start listening a bit. So they say get a sponsor. So I thought, right. And as time went on, so it took me about 7 or 8 months. I was still going, kept going back. And I was like, I don't know why I'm here. Kept saying to people, I don't know why I'm here. I said, I don't even have a problem with alcohol. They said, why are you coming then? Don't come if you don't have a problem. So I kept thinking, well, you know, I can't fucking cut this. Now I can't stop drinking. I physically could not stop drinking. I was drinking in the morning at that point, and I was like, I can't fucking stop. And I was like, I've got the greatest willpower in my world, and I cannot stop this. I was like, every time I'd swear to myself, today isn't going to be the day. I'm not going to drink today. I put my fucking house on it. I won't drink. 7 o'clock had come. I'd be fucking blacked out again. So I was like, right. So started doing what they said, and then like my life, Rich. People say, how did you get from your cycling career from here to where you are? Like, you know, like done TV shows.
AA sorted everything.
Yeah. Well.
And you still go now?
Yeah. This is the thing. Like, as an addict, you come with your spots. So it's not like you're just cured. Like once I'd done what I needed to do in AA, like you do a 12-step program and you find the God of your own understanding. And when that obsession leaves you, like, I go for my thinking, not my drinking. Like, we still have the drinker's head. Like, and if I don't do my program that I need to do, then lo and behold, the spots will start coming back and I'll pick up a drink again. Yeah. So, and the primary focus, like, I've been given this gift now, and that obsession has left me one day at a time. And with that, like, the number one thing on the 12th step is give it away to keep it. So, like, it's not just, all right, I've got what I've got. It's you've got to give it away to keep it. You've got to give it back. Yeah, so I go as well. So I go AA regular for my thinking, but also for the newcomer. Because how does anyone know it works if they can't see an example? I've been a 27-year-old girl stopping drinking, which shares a very different story to a 50-year-old man stopping drinking. So how is anyone meant to know? So it's like, that's where I learned selflessness. Like, I really did. Like, I feel like I was quite a selfish person before I got sober. It was all about me. Like, it was all about what I want to do in my life, how I want to do it. Don't give a shit what people think about how, you know, my life. But then I learned that, you know, it's not just me on this planet. Like, I fucking share this with a lot of other people.
Yeah, of course.
And just learning to be considerate and understanding about other people. Do you know what I mean? And that's why, like, the best ever thing to happen to me is being an alcoholic. Like, better than any success I've ever achieved, Rich. Like, better than anything, because that crash that happened, then subsequently what happened later on, hitting the bottle and being trapped to it, I found who I really fucking was, and it wasn't who I thought I was. Do you know what I mean? I thought I was a tough motherfucker, like I plowed through. But I found that I was actually a human being as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, I still am a tough motherfucker and I want to go after it. Yeah. But at the same time,
it's a different drive now.
100%. And it's like, I was talking to you about this the other day, but when you climb that ladder, make sure the people who are with you, who've helped you climb one step, make sure you take them with you. Don't stand 100%. On the fuckers.
No.
So many people I see, like, achieving a success is great, but if you've achieved success and you've climbed over 100 people and smacked them down and ripped them off and this, that and the other, you're telling me that's success when you got to the top of the podium?
Nah.
No chance. It's like drug cheating. Like, if you took a drug and then let the national anthem play, nah, like, you're a fraud. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now it's about, like, if whatever ladder or whatever step I'm climbing and someone helps me, it's like, come on, like, this is not just, you haven't achieved that next step by yourself. And I'm a massive, like, thing about, like, if I'm in your circle, I'll go on that front line for you. Do you know what I mean? But, like, if you're not in my circle, then I'm not interested. Like, I'm only interested in sticking with the winners. Like, and when I say the winners, it's not like you see
the people who are winning. It's the people who want it.
Yeah, exactly. And want a bit better for themselves and not just want to sit there and moan about this and moan about that. And, like, it's like, you can keep moaning and you can keep pointing out other people's flaws, but that person who stares back at you in the mirror, what's that saying?
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Classic saying in AA, point your finger and 3 are always pointing back at you. So I just always think, like, if someone's having a go, great. Do you know what I mean? Maybe I don't need to add a comment to that, or I don't need to have any say in that, because that's what that person's doing.
Yeah.
But it's, it opened me up and made me a round person being an alcoholic.
That's right. Nice. Well, I'll tell you what, mate. Should we do part 2? Because we've got about 1,000,001 other things to talk about.
We've got so much to talk about. But like, I just think, you know, doing podcasts and actually getting that a bit more in-depth knowledge of that person. Like, we've all got a story to tell that's powerful.
Yeah, 100%.
And like doing this, I just commend you, like what you've gone and done. Like, you're like, stick with the winners, like prime example. Like, I get asked to do these podcasts all the time, and often I'll say no because the narrative or whatever doesn't fit, like, for me. But like, I've seen what you've been doing and creating your path and going from the military background to where you are, and fucking hats off to you. Like, you should be so fucking, no, serious, like pulling up and just so proud of you, like achieving this. You know what I mean? I bet you never thought when you were out in Afghan that, fuck me, this is what I could be having. Wow. And it's only going to greater things.
Yeah, of course.
Like, fair play to you.
Nice one, mate. You're a legend.
Thank you.
Hey, nice one for coming. Let's get part 2 done.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
let's go.